Okay, so let's explore using the free transform tools. So the basic process for using this tool is selecting the object or group and then basically choosing how you want to transform it. And there's three different ways. And then after you choose that tool, you're going to go about and transform the object. I'm going to go ahead and start by using my black arrow tool and clicking this rectangle. I'm just going to move this rectangle over to the edge of this house object on our template. And with that object selected, I'm going to come back over to this part of our tool panel. And right here, there's a black arrow with a rectangular box behind it. That's the transform tool. I could also hit the E key to access that tool. But within that tool are three different options. Okay, we have our basic free transform, we have our perspective distort, and we have our free distort. These are the two ones I'm going to be working with, the perspective distort and the free distort. Let's use the perspective distort first. So I'm going to click right here. And when I did that, you can see that our object changed. We now have these round dots and a different kind of bounding box for this particular shape. I'm going to go ahead and start right here. I'm going to click and drag. And then you can see as I do that, it is now putting that object into perspective. You have to make sure that you're just using these bounding box points and not actually clicking on the object points themselves. If I wanted to, I could start to actually affect the perspective on a different axis, so I can get another shape like that. I'm going to do Command Z, and I'm just going to affect this part of the axis to get kind of a little bit of a convergence look to it. Once I have it right about there, I'll hold down on my Command key and click. And let's go ahead and try that with another shape. So I'm going to go back to my black arrow with the V key. I'll click this shape and move it. And I'm going to line that up with the edge of the last shape we just worked with. I'll go ahead and size this down a little bit more so that that edge matches with the template. And then I'll go back to the free transform tools. I'll choose this perspective distort, and I'll go ahead and add some perspective convergence to that shape. Remember to use your Command and Z to undo if there's an action that you don't want to use. So right about there, I think that's right. I'll go ahead and hit the V key. And finally, I'll distort these two objects. I'm going to click this triangle and move that over. The basic rule when you work with these tools is that you want to line up your shapes kind of approximately with the angle that you're trying to match. I'll go ahead and kind of move this around, and I'm sizing the bounding box. And I haven't even started using the free transform. Okay, now with that object still selected, I'll come back to the free transform tool. Now instead of using the perspective distort, I'm going to use the free distort. It's the one at the very bottom. And now I'll start kind of pulling around the handles. And as you can imagine, this is just freely distorting the object. It's not locking it onto any axis like the perspective distort. So like with a lot of these tools, sometimes you just need to experiment and practice to really get a feel for how these work. I'll hit Command and click. I'll use my black arrow, and let's go ahead and transform this last piece. So I'll line it up approximately and even rotate it so that the angle is matching just approximately. With that still selected, I'll come back and choose the free distort tool. And now I can start to put that into a different perspective. This tool can be a little frustrating. As I move some parts, the other parts that I've already transformed will move. So it takes a little bit of practice. My own personal opinion is that I wish this tool acted more like the transform tool in Photoshop. So I think that works right about there. It's about as good as we're going to get. And then I'll hit Command click. And that's the basic rundown of using the free transform tools.